Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Gretchen and this is Cover Art, a series where I talk about video games I'm playing while doing my makeup. Before I get started on today's video, I wanted to give a huge thank you and shout out to Elena for giving me literally everything. Like from brushes to blush and bronzers and just all of this makeup that she sent my way. I love you so much for it and thank you. I am really grateful to have it all. I had to actually reorganize my entire craft and makeup room to fit everything. And also, she sent me this freaking adorable Hello Kitty headband that I'm going to wear in every video from now on. So, I know I said that the headbands give my bangs like this weird big 80s poof, but I don't care because this is so cute and it's so soft. So thank you again, Elden. I really appreciate it. So today I wanted to talk about a game that literally just came out called Elden Ring. Have you heard of it? If you play video games, you probably have at least heard of it. So Elden Ring is a high fantasy action RPG made by From Software that was just released this year. In fact, it was released February 25th, I believe, of this year. So the reason I haven't made a video more recently is because I have just been playing that. Literally, that's all I've been doing with my free time. So FromSoft is the same company who did Bloodborne, which is another video I talked about their like gothic style in that a little bit. They're really well known for Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Those are like their two huge games. Where it's kind of like really not so much grotesque in this one, but really dark atmosphere, storylines, plot points, but it's all really interesting. Now, when the trailers and announcement for Elden Ring first dropped, I actually thought it was a Lord of the Rings game. And then as I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, oh wait, no. No, not at all. Not at all related. The ring kind of threw me off, that part. So what is going on with this game? What's with this new iteration? Well, you wake up in the game a dirty, lowly little tarnished. They're humans who are given guidance by grace. It's just as convoluted as all of their other games. Anyways, you're tarnished, you wake up, you're able to see the wisps of what's called grace in the world, which is kind of like the will of the greater powers that be. That's what's special specifically about Tarnished, I think. There's still a lot I'm figuring out to this game. It's like really, it's a lot. There's a lot of story. You don't have to work as hard as you have in other games to figure it out, thankfully. But that doesn't make it any less of a monster. So you wake up, you're in the lands between. Between what? I don't know, but you are between them. Now this is a world that's ruled by demigods and there are monsters all over the place, and currently everyone's trying to, all these demigods are trying to vie for power. They're trying to gain control. And they're doing this because a long time ago, or pretty much always, there was always this Queen Marika who ruled the land with the Elden Lord, whoever her husband was basically, and together they fulfilled the will of the Elden Ring. Lots of different Elden things, I guess. Now the Elden Ring itself isn't so much like a ring, like Lord of the Rings. It's more of like the greater powers that be. It's a natural order of the world given form in magic runes. So it's the law, it is the world, it's the construct. However, it was broken. Yes, it was broken. How? I'm still not entirely sure, but either way, people were trying to gain control and power, and so they went after it. And they broke it to bits in the process. So, you know, good job everybody. Well done. You literally destroyed the law and order of the land. You should be real proud of yourselves, whoever did it. Well, anyways, it was destroyed and it was shattered into pieces. So these different pieces are different great runes that provide different effects, like more strength or raising all of your attributes. Basically, it's power. It gives you power. So the Elden ring was broken. Many great runes came out of this ring. That is the wrong color. I just dipped it too. Whoops. And demigods decided to kind of start splitting it up, and you know, everybody got their grubby little mitts on different great runes, and now you're here. Queen Marika is gone. Don't know exactly where she went. Some bullshit went down and she deuced out, or like sacrificed herself. I'm not sure yet. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I wanted to start the video at least because it is really fun. So you've got the lands between, you've got demigods, you've got monsters, you got dragons. You got dragons left and right. Oh boy, so many dragons. I usually just run away. But anyways, you got that. And you got a horse. Not too late into the game, you actually do get a horse, which is great because it is an open world action adventure, so being able to ride on horseback through just like the fields and mountains and what have you's really convenient. And your horse has double jump, so that's nice. So as a Tarnished, what's your job? What's your deal? Why are you here? Well, the Tarnished are given, like I said before, guidance by grace. And what grace is it's basically going to be, it's like this golden aura that surrounds your checkpoints. They're your checkpoints, your fast travel points, your rest stops. It's where you got to reset. So like in Bloodborne, there were lanterns that you could light for a quick reset. They're basically that. In Dark Souls, it's a bonfire. But they stream off these wisps of gold that point to your next objectives. Not very directly. It's very like, go that way, somewhere that way, good luck, is really all that they give you. And well, what does the Grace want you to do? It wants you to collect all of the great runes together. It wants you to piece it all back together, recreate the Elden Ring, become Elden Lord, and, you know, set it all right. No big deal. No pressure. There is also another deity, so to speak, in the game that is just a big tree. There's just this really big tree called the Erd Tree in the middle of the lands between. And it's just this big golden huge tree that you can see from pretty much anywhere on the map as long as you're not underground. And people are super into the tree. They love the tree. We don't know if the tree loves them yet, or at least I don't know. But yeah, they kind of just like worship it. It's like big golden. Is it a conduit for the ring? Is it the grace that's guiding you? Is it leeching off of the power of the great runes? I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. At this point in the game, I have no reason to believe it's Parasite other than I know how these games are and how messy they get. So yes, you, lowly Tarnished, must travel around the vast land, collect the great runes, gain power, and become Elden Lord. Whatever that means. Again, no big deal, no pressure. Just, you know, restore order to the entire world, basically. Yeah, and a quick and messy explanation, that's Elden Ring. So all that being said, what do you actually do in the game? Well, you ride around on Torrent, you collect runes from fallen enemies, and you use those runes to level up and become stronger. I would say that the game has a fairly linear path if you want to take a linear path, but it's open world, so it's super easy to just get caught up in something else. There's a lot of optional stuff alongside the mandatory stuff. And ultimately, it's the basic principle of here's your area where you start. The further away you go from it, the harder things are going to get. But I do like that style because instead of progressing into just area, you kind of start and you can kind of spiral outwards if you wanted to. You could go south instead of going north, which is where they want you to go to begin with, but like you can do it if you want to. There are a bunch of different NPCs throughout the world that you can learn from, like spells, incantations, war arts, different things like that, and so many different weapons in the game, it's ridiculous. It's a lot to choose from, and it can be overwhelming since you can only do so much with how you're building. Like, you could kind of do a generalist thing and spread your points out as you level up across different attributes, but then you're not going to be really good at one thing, which a lot of the weapons kind of graduate to. Well, if you want to have this really cool ultimate weapon, then you need to have Dex maxed out, or you need to have Strength maxed out, or your Faith skill maxed out, that kind of stuff. So a lot of people tend to hone in on a couple. I'm honing in right now on Strength and Faith and Dexterity. And I'm also putting points into Mind. So I'm doing a lot that I probably should spread out more, but whatever. Next run. Because there probably will be a next run. So yeah, different NPCs, a bunch of different quest lines that you can do. Again, not necessary, but kind of just fun add-ons. There are a bunch of different factions you can align yourself to or pledge yourself to if you want, that have different storylines and will likely cause different endings in the game. Again, I say likely because I haven't beaten it yet, but this is my assumption based on how these games play out. There's a lot of different side quests, dungeons to do where you can go and fight through just to level up and get some cool new gear or treasure, materials to level up, different things like your swords, yourself, or if you wanted to, there's something called ashes. So you can summon these ash spirits and basically they fight alongside you for a little while. So you can buff those guys up too, collect them as you go. There's just a lot to do. That's the overarching theme of this game. There is a lot to do, and I'm excited to get through a lot of it. But right now I'm in this like magma lava zone and I hate it there. It's actually the worst. I hate it. You know, you wouldn't think in a high fantasy game like this that dogs would be your biggest problem, but here we are. Hate those little suckers. Not in real life though. I love dogs in real life. I love animals in real life, but in these games, no, they suck. I hate it. You can write messages in the world to like let other people know, like, hey, there's an item over here, or like, hey, watch out for this enemy, or watch out for this, you know, like poison, fire, or what have you. And other people can see that if they're online playing, and they can read your comments. That's kind of fun. And it's not like you can type in or anything like that. You have to use preset templates and words to form sentences together. A lot of people like going to the edge of a cliff where if you were to fall, you'd just die, and writing, seek God. Cool, thanks. Or the big one is seek finger, butthole. So like butt, hole, butthole. The community is very creative and mature, to say the least. But you can summon people in to help you with fights if you want. You can summon NPCs sometimes, it just depends. Although if you summon your friends to play with you, you can't ride on your horse, which is a bummer. Love my little horsey. So yes, there is multiplayer, although I think it's a little bit archaic. I think it's more difficult than it needs to be for 2022 for you to summon in friends to help you fight, but you know, whatever. And also, my husband and I keep getting a lot of connection issues, and I don't know why that is, to be perfectly honest, but it's probably just our shitty internet, for being 100% here. I just want gigabyte internet. I just want fiber. One day they'll give us nice things. Anyways, so you're going out, you're collecting great runes. Cool. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means you're fighting through areas to get to the big bad boss of that area, and usually that big bad boss is like the child of a demigod who inherited a shattered piece of the ring. So you're fighting through their castle or fort or magic academy, I don't know, like whatever they were in charge of, whatever they were the hot shit of. You're fighting through that area and you're either dealing with the demigods themselves or their children, whoever has a shard. You're basically trying to defeat them, get that shard, and then you can't just use it because that would be too easy. You have to go to an area in the map that has like an awakening tower sort of situation where you go and reactivate the great rune. I don't know, it's just all convoluted, okay? Honestly, I had no idea And a lot of the stuff in this game, these are types of games where, you know, I'm not a pro gamer. Not anything amazing or particularly good at these games. I have to look up a lot of stuff. So it's a good thing there are people who've already beaten the game, because a lot of the NPC quest lines that, you know, aren't main story stuff, they have a lot of different little steps and bits and pieces, and like you have to go and talk to this person here before you can talk to this other person here. And if you don't talk to them there, then that quest line is just like at a halt and you can't proceed it. But you have to go and find them in this place where you wouldn't expect them to be, but they're there. And the game has a good reason for it. So, deal with it. Open. Jeez Louise. So what are these enemies like? Well, they're big baddies and they suck. Usually. That's really all I got to say about it. I don't want to spoil too much. I will say, like, one of the first enemies is named Godric, son of Godwin, I think. Maybe I have that backwards, but he's some really twisted motherfucker who basically took all of his people, all of his, like, I don't know, loyal followers, countrymen, what have you, and basically was like, okay, I am your boss and I want to take your limbs, like your arms and legs, and I'm gonna put them on me. Just hot glue it on here real quick to make myself even more powerful. And, you know, his wards just kind of said like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. We're becoming this giant, awful monster and dying for the sake of this twisted dude. It's really messed up. I don't know. He's a weirdo. So you basically just, you progress through the area, you defeat the big baddie, you get their great rune, you go activate it, you go back to your home base, which is called the Round Table Hold. You don't get it right away at the beginning of the game, but you do eventually get to have a home base. Yeah, you just keep trekking along that way until you become the Lord, the Elden Lord. And in the meantime, if you want to level up yourself, your weapons, your ashes, you can't level up your horse, but if you could, I would. If you want to do any of that, then you can do some side stuff, do side quests, align yourself with different factions throughout the game. Do you want to help restore the order, or do you want to say, no, it wasn't a good order, let's break that order and never do it again, you know? The world's your oyster. Do what you want. I fully anticipate a lot of different multiple endings for this game too. So what do I think of it? What do I think of it? I'm all over the place with my makeup right now. Oh my goodness. Okay. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot to do and it can be really overwhelming and you can get distracted very easily from the things that you're supposed to be doing. But it's honestly not too hard to get back on track. I know a lot of people like to keep a journal because there is no journal in this game. If you pick up a side quest, you're not going to be able to go into your settings menu or, you know, your home base or anywhere really to figure out what stage of the quest you're on. There's nothing like that. So a lot of people keep like real physical journals next to them as to where items are, where they can go for different things, where they need to go next, and etc, etc. So, you know, keeping a journal's good. Following through as far as you can is what I typically like to do, but normally I hit walls because of difficulty in the quest. So like I'll go up to a certain point and then it gets to be too hard for me, so I have to turn around and do some other stuff and kind of grind levels until I can come back and finish up what I was doing. A lot of people, pretty much everyone, has been comparing this game a lot to Breath of the Wild, to which I would say, yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. They have a lot of similar elements while being completely different games. A lot of the mechanics are there, you know, like you can pick up whatever weapons you have around. Dungeons are spread out throughout the entire map, which becomes huge. The more and more you discover, the bigger it becomes, obviously. But it feels like it's never gonna end. I feel like I get a hang of one area, I'm confident in it, and then I progress, and then I'm in a new area, and I'm like, what's going on? Why is there lava everywhere? Why are they throwing jars of poison at me? I want to go home. Thanks. But yeah, overall, would recommend. It's a great game. Lots of fun. Lots of stuff to do, lots of different ways to play it, and really make it yours. Like, I definitely went from using a little bit of magic to a lot of magic all the time. And initially when I started playing the game, I was like, I'm gonna learn how to parry. So like you take your shield and as they swing down, you swing away and say no. And then you stab them for a critical hit. And I was like, I'm gonna get really good at that. I did not. I just stay far away and I throw fireballs at people. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do just to survive. But you know, that just shows how customizable your playstyle can be. You want to be a wizard, but you actually still want to have like a giant weapon. It requires like a ton of strength. Sure, go for it. Just make sure you got the points in the right places. You know, you guys should make sure you're leveled for it. Then you can be your strong wizard. Strong wizard man. Or lady. The game is still really young, as in like it's still really new. It's still really, you know, in the prime of its life cycle sort of situation where, you know, people are finding bugs, exploiting bugs, finding little weird things that happen, like little glitches. Like there's this one mushroom on the map, because you can gather things up and forage things and do item crafting and stuff like that. There's this one area on the map where there looks like there should be a mushroom you can pick up, but there's no option for that. And so I went up to it, I saw a bunch of little messages all around the ground that were just like, mushroom, not real, or something like that. Like, just people, you know, being funny, being silly in the game. There's also this thing right now where everybody's calling, you know, everything's a dog. Like that, the horse. Your horse is a dog. The big horse you have to fight is a dog. The lizards in the fire area are dogs. You know, everything's a dog. Beware of dog. So I think it's actually a lot of fun to be able to be at the beginning of this game's progression and how they're going to change things. They've already made some huge updates to it, like different NPCs that they've added in or quest lines that they've changed a little bit just to make things more cohesive, which is important in a game like this because everything is convoluted and hard to find, albeit not as hard as other games that they've made. Also, I guess George R.R. Martin is credited for writing, but he really didn't do anything. That's just a fun fact. I think they asked him to be a part of it and he was like, okay, and then he didn't do anything in the typical George R.R. Martin style. But you know, his name's up there. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a really fun game. I'm having a great time playing both alone and with my friends. It's not cross-platform, so you can't play with people between PC and PS5 or whatever. But I'm still enjoying it with the people that I can play with, so it's a good time. There's a lot to do. It's still a very intimidating game because, you know, if you like Bloodborne, if you have a bunch of money in your pocket to level up and then you die, you drop all that money, and if you can't pick it up again, then it's gone forever. So it can be difficult, but I like that. It's a hard game. I don't know that it's as hard as everybody makes it out to be honest. There are some really hard parts, but I mean, you can usually push through. Just get good. I'm kidding, I'm not good at all. I'm very bad at this game. So if I can have fun and play this, then you can too, probably. Well, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night or whatever comes next for you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Make of thyselves that which ye desire, be it a lord, be it a god. But should ye fail to become aught at all, ye will be forsaken, amounting only to sacrifices.
Thy kind are all of a piece. Pillagers, emboldened by the flame of ambition.